Hey my loves, in today's video I want to talk about the art of being alone, solitude, spending time by yourself and actually enjoying it. Did you know that roughly 50% of the population can be categorized as introverts? Now, what does that mean in this context? Well, introverts, which I include myself to, are people that aren't that keen to be expressing themselves a lot. They more likely want to be for themselves and open up to their closest relationships, including the relationship with themselves. Introverts might be considered odd too, but here's the thing. Introverts make themselves laugh. They prepare their own company, which involves playing around with their thoughts and ideas, daydreaming, creating, relaxing, watching a movie, reading, and all of that good stuff. Introverts need to be alone to recharge. Considered being shy, boring, or socially awkward, it's quite the contrary. Introverts value genuine relationships and deep conversations in length. The last fact, I love this one. Introverts aren't necessarily boring. Even though they look like they do, introverts can have fun without jumping from place to place. They are rarely bored because they're deep in their thoughts. And thoughts just keep them from boredom. Well, in today's world, it's all about experiencing a lot. Being social AF, always doing and doing, never resting, being on the go at all times. No wonder that being alone, spending time by yourself and for yourself comes pretty weird, sadly. We all have inner batteries, how I like to call them. The more we are socially interacting, the more energy flees, especially when you're not quite vibing with the certain people you hang around with. So it leads to an energy unbalance. You have to give a lot of energy to the people, be it in ways like always discussing, always holding back, always having to accept what's coming your way, to adapt or be accepted. You are giving and giving, but who's giving to you? We are so distracted to always give ourselves to other people and always neglect ourselves. We forget or even unlearned how to be alone, how to be by ourselves without feeling weird and a failure. Can you relate? Like, at the beginning of my journey, I felt like a social failure. I mean, how come I like to hang out alone in my room, entertain myself, and not want to go out to parties with friends? Like, am I alright? Short answer, yes, I'm absolutely alright, but feeling comfortable being alone is a process, it's a journey. That's why it's an art. It can either come naturally to you or it can be trained. Alright guys, so as you can see, I'm like really in the moment, really happy that I'm actually outside. I started filming the YouTube video talking about solitude and I just felt really like uncomfortable talking about it, like sitting in my room, and it just felt weird somehow, and I couldn't like really talk about it, even though I just love talking about solitude, like spending time by yourself, being alone and enjoying the quality time. I just couldn't because I just felt like somehow this doesn't feel authentic. And then I just had the idea of coming to this place and just had like vivid images in my mind of me walking around here and recording and just recording some flowers and all that, and that's what I started doing. And I'm just like, wow, guys, like honestly you just have to listen to your intuition, because that feeling that you're feeling, the pictures that just pop in your head, they are there for a reason, and it just doesn't happen for nothing. And you only like collect the reward if you actually follow your intuition and do it. And right now I'm listening to a podcast on esoteric and it's just so wise, and I'm like sitting here and they're talking about intuition. I'm like, yes, heck yes, I know what you're talking about. I just did the thing that I felt I had to do and I did it. So I'm just so happy. Let's see where I'll end up in a few minutes or in an hour. But yes, I'm just going to enjoy the view here, just going to enjoy the stillness and listening to the podcast and just being by myself. I also brought a blanket with me and my book. But yeah, we'll see what I'll be doing. But I'm just going in the flow, guys. I'm just going in the flow. Some people tremble at the idea of being alone. I don't understand. I love my solitude. My energy is never leached, my feelings are never hurt, I treat myself well, entertain myself, but it's peaceful. Sylvester Magnet on Solitude. I'm honestly so much more content sitting in my room alone at night, smiling to myself as I watch my favorite TV shows, than being out in uncomfortable situations that involves me pretending to be having the good time of my life with boring people who don't care about me doing pointless things. By Unknown. Can you actually relate to the quotes? Let me know in the comments. Became so noticeable how much society frightened to be by themselves, especially during quarantine time. They distracted themselves as much as possible, trying to avoid the thoughts and feelings that hid behind their surface, or their subconsciousness to say so. The rate of being online during lockdown hit its all-time high, with users being an average of 4 hours and 2 minutes online. The TikTok era has risen, video content in all forms and all that. So people try to escape loneliness and even recorded their days to have people either watch them via live or somehow else. And I'm not judging them by any means. Well, because also it led to people being more connected than ever, which is really, really beautiful as we're social beings and we're meant to be in relationships. But we shouldn't overlook why it came to this cause. It developed because people are too afraid to be by themselves. Short story time how I felt the last days. Recently, I started working 30 plus hours a week, which I never did before because certainly I couldn't. I was never the person that committed to work, in my opinion, to unhumanly amounts of hours. Like if I worked over a long period of times, I felt this big inner unrest. Like, you know, this frustration, anger, sadness, and like grudges in general because I don't know, like how is that a thing that my work time takes actual time from my life? Like actual time for me to be doing the things that I love, be spending the time with my loved ones and, you know, just take care of myself. How come? So as I said, the last few weeks I've worked a lot and my mental health just honestly went downhill. I described it as my body being there, but my soul kind of somewhere else. As soon as I didn't have my own routine where I could prioritize self-care, I was constantly pissed. Like, no, I need time to myself, even if it's like just for letting my thoughts run. So I feel like people are very frightened to be by themselves because they're actually scared of what is going on inside of them. They just can't like really accept that they feel off. And if this weird feeling of bad emotions come up, then they're like trying to reject them or suppress them and just not allow these emotions to actually come to the surface because, you know, you always have to function and always have to look good and all that social pressure, which leads to us like doubting ourselves and actually not giving us enough room to be ourselves and to just find out who we actually are. And we are so focusing on taking care of the external other than ourselves. The most successful people prioritize spending time by themselves to mainly listen to what's going on in their mind, which ideas are flowing through the thoughts. Be alone, that is the secret of invention. Be alone, that is when ideas are born. Nikola Tesla. All of humanity's problems stem from man's inability to sit quietly in a room alone. Blaise Pascal. Be a loner. That gives you time to wonder, to search for the truth, have holy curiosity, make your life worth living. Einstein. You know, these are just some quotes from people that impacted society a lot and just emphasize being alone and just point out where the issue lays in society, of people not being able to sit quietly, to be by themselves, to just listen to their thoughts and, just be in the moment. So I listened to a podcast about Gnosticism, and this one quote just really stuck to me. And it is, if you don't know yourself, you don't know anything. And I just immediately had to write it down because that is so deep. That is so deep and so freaking true, because if you don't know yourself, you don't know anything. You can assume that you are this way and then do this because the majority of people does it, following the system, as I've talked about in my previous video. But at the end of the day, you still don't know who you are and what you actually want to do. And a lot of people have issues with finding out their purpose. The reason people just don't know what their purpose is or what they actually want in life is because they are lacking time by themselves, because they don't take time to be for themselves. Let all the emotions that they're feeling out for a while and just be and sit still and just listen, or even if you don't like to sit still and do nothing, because that can be really hard too, I admit, just grab a pen and paper and write thoughts down, or write a song, write a poem, I don't know, something that just expresses your thoughts, or even recording something. If you feel awkward talking by yourself, then take a device and just record yourself so you can listen to it. Just something where you can actually let yourself speak, because trust me, you have a lot going on in your mind than you actually think. Just encourage you to get to know yourself. That is actually the essence in life, to get to know yourself and to become your best version day by day. And how can you become your best version if you don't even know where to start, because you don't know yourself, So please, I don't know, take this video for inspiration of actually planning out days, or if it doesn't have to be a whole day, but maybe minutes or an hour a day, to just be still, whether it's through meditation, whether it's through working out, whether it's through walking around in the neighborhood, in the park, or whatever. But just crave some time out of your busy day, because I know we're all busy, but just prioritize this time for yourself, because it's really sacred. And if you do it long term, you just become so much more at peace. And I can really just talk from experience, because I'm so much more at peace, because I know what is actually the cure, the actual thing that just brings me down, which is solitude, being by myself and recharging my inner batteries. So friends, I'm really content. Yeah, just heading home now after these 3 beautiful hours, 4, I don't know. I can only point out how great it is to spend time by yourself. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope I don't know, it kind of inspired you to actually spend some time by yourself in nature too, or wherever, but just do it and thank me later. Alright then, bye.